Welcome to Paranormal Almanac with your host, Kurt Sandvik. Hey, howdy, hi, and welcome to another edition of Paranormal Almanac. And on this edition, let's talk haunted Arkansas? Or paranormal Arkansas? Or what the hell's going on in Arkansas, basically. Special shout out right off the top to Holden Yeager for that intro. I was just rocking out to that intro music. I know a lot of you were like, no, it's always the classic one that you played for 200 episodes. I get it. I like the classic, and you know what? We can see it's right there. I still have it, but Holden knocked it out of the park with that new intro song, and that bump, that part of it gets me every time. Oh, and I'd like to also do a special shout out to the helicopter that is again above my house. I had a freaking police helicopter above my house. Don't worry, they're not coming after me. The truth is out there. The disclosure, they're coming to get me. Now, there was something going on less than a block to the west of my house with just every police officer in Burbank. In fact, I should be checking to make sure that that's not what's happening again, because if so, I've got to really lock down my house because it was like two suspects that were armed. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to cut this space out anyway, so you won't hear it, but I'm going to investigate to make sure I'm not going to be killed by some armed suspect. Hold on. For you, no time has passed. For me, it's been mere minutes. Yeah, it happened again. They're still searching for 2 armed suspects. That's what they say. But you know, if that scene in Miami that everybody swears is still a UFO incident that I proved wasn't is any indication that, yeah, it's aliens. It's aliens. Oh, did you guys hear about the Giorgio Tsoukalos story? Oh, I got to do shout outs. All right, let me do shout outs. I got to remind myself because I did not write a very good outline. Giorgio Tsoukalos story. I don't know how to spell his last name, so I'm just going to Tsoukalos. All right, that'll remind me. All right, let's do some shout-outs real quick, because I got some stuff to get into, apparently. Shout-outs to Chani the Pommy. Chani the Pommy, brand new from frickin' New Zealand. Holy crap-a-moly. Thank you, patron from New Zealand. One of my favorite places that I've never ever been to, but my God, would I like to go to New Zealand and Australia. I know I've said it, Australia before. They're both on the tops of my list. Look, I don't know if I've ever talked about it really on the show. There's a pause in the shout-outs. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the show. I built a tiki bar in my backyard over the past year. Built it. Like, everything you can, I built it because I really wanted it to be my own private little, like, paradise, whatever. And the tikis from Maori, I thought it was Maori, but everybody keeps telling me I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Maori. Chani the Pommy, please tell me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. The tikis that come out of there are just flipping beautiful. And same thing with Papua New Guinea. So like that whole area is just the most intensely amazing tikis that you've ever seen in your life. The carvings are just beautiful. But New Zealand tikis, the Maori tikis, or however you pronounce it, tikis, are just incredible. So, I don't know, it's just an off tangent, but yeah, so I'm building a tiki bar. You're going to check it out on you know what, I'll post a bunch of photos on the Facebook fan page. I had it on my personal page and in my personal Instagram, but I'll throw it up on the Facebook fan page and on Patreon so you guys can see my little tiki bar that is my own little corner of paradise that, you know, and at the end of a very, very, very long work week, I can just go out in the backyard and mix myself a proper tiki drink. I'm pouring them good, people. I did talk about him before because Tim was going to come by, and I told him he's, you know, got free reign of the tiki bar. Tim, I gave that invite to, and the Lauren Strawn, she's got a free invite anytime she wants. You know who hasn't even been there yet? Is Todd and Jamie and Elijah, but Todd and Jamie have not been to the tiki bar yet, so they got to get their asses to the tiki bar. But you know what I'll do? if you're in California or can get to California or would like to be part of a come hang out at Kurt's Tiki Bar and have a drink. Tracy's invited as well. She's got a free invite. Don't worry about that. You don't have to enter the contest. Tracy's got a carte blanche like the Lauren Strawn, Sherry. There's a bunch of people that I've met before that are just the fantastic patrons and paramaniacs. But if you want to come to the Tiki Bar, this will prove if you listen here. That's how I should do it. This will prove if you listen to the actual shout outs part of the episode. Here's what you do. On the photos that I put on the Facebook fan page and on the Patreon, put Kurt mispronounces Maori, Maori. Just write that. Kurt mispronounces Maori, and you'll be entered into a contest. And the contest will be you got to get yourself out here. I can't afford to fly myself anywhere, let alone you. I can't afford to fly to Vegas to see Beatles Love right now, which I want to do before it closes. But if you happen to be in California and you're the winner and you happen to be on a trip or whatever to California, you'll have a personal invite to my house. You can see where I record Paranormal Almanac if you want, but the more important part is to the Tiki Bar. And I'll make you a tiki drink. We'll hang out in the Tiki Bar. That sounds like fun. Kurt mispronounces Maori, Maori. All right, that's in the shout-outs. Chani the Pommy, welcome and awesome. And also, Chani the Pommy, when you first joined Patreon, I really, really thought your little picture, your little profile picture, I thought it was a boob. And I was like, oh my God, there's a boob. And they let him have a boob. No, but just a fingertip with a little dot on it. But from the small little picture on my phone, I was like, it's a boob. That's fun. All right. Anyhow, shout-outs go out to Matt Lord. Hey, howdy, hi. Another international paramaniac. And then JT, yet another international paramaniac from Australia. Matt Lord, I can only assume from the pound that you're from the UK somewhere. Thank you. 3 in a row. International paramaniacs blows my flippin' mind. It still does, honestly. Blows my flippin' mind. Let's see who else is up next. Doogie Hoare, Mike G, Tracy Belanger. I have no idea. Ryden, Jet Lightfoot, Brenda, Richard, Logan, Lori, Alec, Karen, Duran, Lori, Rebecca. Oh, a special shout out to Lori Bedard. I don't know if I've told you this yet, but make sure you message me on Patreon if you haven't already. Pick your shirt, your style, everything you want from tpublic.com/stores/paranormal-almanac. Pick your style of your shirt, the size and the color, and I'll get you the shirt sent out to you. Alec, Karen, Duran, Lori, Rebecca, Ann, Stephen Scher, hey, howdy, hi, Jane Ann, Jennifer, Heather G, your friendly neighborhood skinwalker. Hey, Stephen Scher and Nico Scher, you also have carte blanche, an invite to the Tiki Bar. Let me know if you ever make it out to California. I'd love to have you. I'd love to hang out with you. You guys are great. Heather G, your friendly neighborhood skinwalker. Zuzus, what's it? Nico Scher and the Mouse. Mark and Tina Tortuga, Mike from Jersey, Jay Bizzle. Andy, Tracy Simonic, the one I was just talking about. She's got that free pass. Virginia, Tony the Magician. I still want to learn magic tricks. I want to hang out with Tony. You got a free pass to the bar but you got to do magic tricks. That's your only thing. You got a free thing to the bar, but you got to do magic tricks. Jason, Vicky, Crow, Libido Works, Glacier Main, Isabel, Jen, Stacy, Amber, Tracy, Kelly Joe, Menace the Beast, Kick-Ass Magic Robot Webcomic, Sandy, Paige, Couch. I should say that the Tiki Bar is really small, so it'd have to be only 1 or 2 people at a time. I live in I rent a tiny little house. Batman 666, Scott, Andrea, Melody, Vanessa, Marisol, Liam, Becca, Jake, Charlotte, and the Beasties, Elizabeth, Sherry, Art Muffin, Sherry, that's, like I said, Sherry's already got the open invite anytime she wants. Art Muffin, Tim, Kenneth, Ricky Ricardo, Alexandra, George, Zozo the Demon. Zozo the Demon, I just assume since you're Zozo the Demon, you can just pop up into the bar anytime you want. So just give me a little heads up. Be like, hey, just heads up, Friday, I'm going to pop up in the bar so I don't freak out and cry and wet myself. But still, Hayden, Cindy, Ashley, Carrie, Robin, Will, Lauren, and Phil Mangano, 2 more friends of mine in real life that have not been to the Tiki Bar. I see how it is. I actually invited them, and they said no. Twice now. Twice I've invited them, and they've said no. So they are not invited. That's offers off the table. Russell, Isabel, Audra, Dorian, Cindy, Paula, Jerry, Jeff T, Joe, Lawrence, Melissa, the Lawrence Strawn, Veronica, Autumn, J. Mark, Carolyn, Jade Nanashi, Todd, Jamie, and Elijah Hendrickson, Dan, Laura Pitts, and Gamer Fan. Gamer Fan, you got an open invite as well anytime you want because you're just the best. That was a long shout out. All right. Now I got to look up the stupid story about Giorgio Tsoukalos because it's weird. So Giorgio Tsoukalos got in a fight with the co-creator of Deadpool on Twitter. Yeah, the guy that Giorgio Tsoukalos, if you don't know what I'm talking about, he's the guy that like it was aliens with the tall hair from Ancient Aliens. That guy just randomly got in a fight with Fabian. I don't know how to say his last name. Nicasia, who co-created with Rob Liefeld Deadpool. So, Fabian said, is he saying Deadpool's a bottom? And then Giorgio Tsoukalos, said, what does it matter? And do you understand Deadpool at all? See, there's the problem. And do you understand Deadpool at all? The guy co-created Deadpool. So all these people are like, hey, he's the co-creator of Deadpool there, alien guy. Calm down. And instead of walking it back, being like, oh, yep, that, brain fart or whatever, he doubled down. So Fabian was like, hey, there must be a smarter way for you to spend $8 a month on the little blue check mark than outing yourself as a verified moron. And again, Giorgio Tsoukalos could have backed down and said, nope, tell that to my face and let's see what happens. Now he wants to start a fight with the co-creator of Deadpool for no reason. And so Fabian responded, whoops, I did Twitter bad today, sorry. Would have worked much better then. I said something pretty dumb, but acting like a tough guy will make it all better. Yeah, here's a full-blown feud between the It's Alien guys and one of the guys that created Deadpool. What is What world are we living in? What world are we living in? What weird shit is going on constantly that's happening? Alrighty, I've spent enough time on that. Oh, 2 special shout-outs, as always. I will never ever miss that. I will make sure that I always say it. 2 special shout-outs, as always, to my boy Stitch and to Joe Teague. Love you both. All righty, let's get into paranormal news real quick.
Strange things happen every day. Keep watch out and be on your way. That's just the way the universe moves. But now it's time for paranormal news.
Yeah. Now that I just played that, it just dawned on me that somebody, and I can't think of who, I'll find you on Facebook, messaged the Paranormal Almanac fan page on Facebook asking me to send them the drop of the music for the one that Buzz did, where it says, where Kurt says, "Don't fucking shoot Bigfoot" in the song. He wants that as an MP3 to play for his wife, and I completely forgot till just now. It's been a week too. I feel terrible that he asked me to try and find it and send it to him on the Facebook fan page. So I will find that. I got to have the MP3 somewhere. Buzz, if you're listening, you're probably quicker at it than I am. If you throw that up in the Facebook fan page, I'm sure the guy would really love it. But hey, Buzz, you got a big fan. The guy really, really, really likes the song that you did, Buzz, and rightfully so because it's flipping awesome. Alrighty, the first story in paranormal news. I don't have it ready to pull up. It just dawned on me. I did a terrible, terrible outline for this episode because I just been so flipping busy with the day job. But I'll find it. It'll take a second. Here it is. The haunted castle in Kalamazoo is up for sale. Yeah, a castle in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's called the Henderson Castle. It is a known paranormal hotspot. They actually have paranormal tours of this castle, and it's for sale. Now, it's 14 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, 11,000 square feet. Absolutely gorgeous. It's in Kalamazoo. Sure, it's $5 million, and I'm so close to having the $5 million, guys. I checked. I got $25, $30. Maybe I could probably scrounge around or borrow up to I probably have $70, $80. So if they knock down the price just a little bit, it's getting closer to my price range of $80. And I could sell some stuff too. I could sell my body. I'll sell whatever. But I don't think I'm getting anywhere near $5 million. But this house, or this castle, not house, is absolutely gorgeous. It has a spirits lounge bar, a vineyard, a wine cave, an in-ground spa pool, event hall, steam room, rooftop lounge with a rooftop jacuzzi, day spa, 14 guest rooms, hosts weddings, events, corporate treats, blah, 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 blah. And it's freaking haunted. Oh, and it has a cottage house, too, a 2-bedroom, 2-full-bath cottage house. It's sold turnkey, and they said it's a revenue-generating castle that you could buy. I put it up on the fan page. I think it was last week I put it up on the fan page, and it's flipping gorgeous. Like a couple of the photos are from like probably pretty current, not current, but like, more recent photos because there's snow on the ground. But even with the snow on the ground and me being like a weak California person now that I'm afraid of snow, yeah, I would risk it. I would trudge through snow for this place just for the woodwork alone is absolutely gorgeous. But then you go up to the roof and you got like the bar is freaking cool, man. The ceiling in the bar. You got to take a look at this place is what I'm saying. It's called Henderson Castle. It's at 100 Monroe Street in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So whatever Zillow thing you use, look up 100 Monroe Street, Kalamazoo, Michigan for a known haunted castle that's up for sale. So flippin' gorgeous. All righty. My computer, like I said, is a little bit slow today, so don't be surprised if I'm bantering a bit before the next news story comes up like I am right now. Here we go. Up next in Paranormal News, scientists to install nuclear-powered UFO detectors in space to lure aliens to Earth. Now, I have no idea what WION news is, if it's real news or it's fake news, but a scientist has claimed that researchers are trying to build a small, handheld nuclear reactor to help lure aliens to our home planet. The idea is based on the long-held notion that aliens find it easier to detect nuclear reactors, radiation, or weapons. Some media reports in the past have even linked UFO sightings to nuclear sites around the world. Kevin Newth, a professor of physics at the University of Albany, said earlier this year that it's an idea that couldn't go wrong, that a mini handheld nuclear reactor are already being patented. We're trying to figure out how we can lure UFOs and work out how to make contact. Look, if this is real, that's insane, but insanely cool. I don't know if I want a bunch of mini nuclear reactors going up in space with the amount of SpaceX rockets that keep blowing up, but I guess you got to try. Up next in Paranormal News, U.S. Army Colonel reveals presence of alien life on Earth. He says they've been here for a long time. At one of the most exclusive business summits of the year in New York City, an Army official made startling claims of non-human intelligence interacting with Earth. Let's see, his name, I don't want to care. I know about the David Grush stuff. Dr. Gary Nolan claimed he was 100% sure a non-human intelligence is real and has been interacting with Earth for a very long time. Let me see, this might be it. And then there's also a Colonel Carl Nell of UAPTF speaking at the SALT conference in New York, saying...
And my last assignment was involved with the UAP task force, which maybe is the most apropos for this discussion.
And so, Carl, here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
Right. So non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
Unelected.
And so, Carl, that is quite a bold statement. I'm wondering, and I'm curious, how confident are you that that is true?
There's zero doubt.
And
Jesus, that guy's just like straight up matter-of-facting telling us, yeah, it's real. And non-elected government officials. That's important because there's a lot of people that say that the president isn't aware of this stuff. Whoever the president is at the time isn't made aware of a lot of the secrets because the president is just, like kind of like the little shell person out there doing whatever the president does. But there's really people behind the president, behind the scenes that have higher clearance, and they're aware of these UAPs and aliens and biological entities, that extraterrestrial biological entities that we have. And I know it sounds batshit. I know that right now someone's listening to this episode for the first time and going, Kurt's fucking stupid. He's crazy. Sure. You know, like I've heard it my entire life my entire life I've thought that aliens are real and UFOs are real. There isn't a doubt in my mind. And I've heard it from my family, from friends, whatever, saying, oh, it's just dumb, dude. There's no proof of aliens. Well, now there is. Now there are this Colonel Carl Nell of the UAP task force. He's not Giorgio Tsoukalos getting in a fight on Twitter. This guy has clearance. He knows what he is talking about. And he's straight up saying, like you just heard him, without a doubt in his mind, yeah, it's real. Like, this is no longer, our government is saying, yeah, we found wrecked non-human ships, wrecked non-human craft, and have reverse engineered them. And it was barely a blip in the news. So it's as frustrating as it is, it's also very vindicating for me. And that's how I look at it. Like when I talk about this with friends and they're like, oh man, you know, the government does seem to be saying that. I'm like, yeah, it does. That's what I've been saying this entire time. Now, I still have family members that still think I'm crazy. But the weird thing is, like my niece and my nephews, they're all like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it's real. They don't have a doubt in their mind. It is a different time now. It really is. So it's an exciting time. No matter how slow they're dripping us out this disclosure to us, it's a very exciting time. All righty, up next in paranormal news. Is it a bird? A plane? What was this mysterious object seen flying past Aberdeen Golf Course? I've been wanting to watch this. I'm very excited to watch this one, and I really hope that I can't debunk it within 2 seconds. So let me play the video first because I've been really wanting to watch it. Basically, an Aberdeen woman saw a UFO flying over what they call the Granite City. Her name is Stacy. She's 47. She recorded the peculiar glowing object floating past Lynx Field on her phone last Monday. All right. That was quick. That was way too quick. Oh, no. All right. I was going to say it's just a light, so I can't tell you anything, but it isn't just a light. I mean, it could be a drone from this distance or like a light up football or something, but it does disappear and it doesn't go across like a regular course like an airplane or a helicopter would do. So yeah, it is a UFO because I have no idea what it is. She said the mother of 3 said she thinks the footage might be a sign of otherworldly life. It was recorded over Lynx Field and details an ethereal, luminous ball flying past the Kings Link golf course. Stacy was then on hand to capture the footage on her phone. She said, before I started to take the video, I saw something strange out of the window. It wasn't on the street or it wasn't in the sky, almost in between. Suddenly, the light just dashed off to the right of the screen. It was so strange, that's when I started videoing. I asked myself, is it a bird or reflection? I couldn't figure it out. It was just this green dash, then flew across the sky, and I thought, wow, this isn't something that you usually expect to see. I'm starting to think then maybe it's something that it shouldn't be. She said, I've been kind of obsessed with looking out my window now, as well as everybody should. Look, honestly, if people put their phones down and looked around and kept an eye on the sky, more of these things would be videoed. More of these things would be seen. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know what it is either. I wish I could say, well, I can definitely say it's not. I don't think that it's a UFO or I don't think it's a helicopter or a plane. It does look more UFO-like. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news, Burchett. What is it? Here we go. Burchett makes new push for UAP transparency. Let me put this on.
Well, I guess I'm the unelected chair. I think it's needed because you just showed the Tic Tac video taken by one of our very brave pilots.
All right, hold on. Representative Tim Burchett, Republican from Tennessee, has introduced legislation that would force the president to direct federal agencies to make all documents on unidentified anomalous phenomena available to the public within 279 days, and mandate the president to provide a quarterly report of declassification of UAP records to the House. Okay, now let's listen to him.
And I had one of those pilots not very long ago tell me one of these objects was 14 feet away from his canopy as he was flying. Yet our federal government, many departments tell us they don't exist, yet they're still being funded tens of millions of dollars. They issue redacted reports about UFOs. And our own Pentagon, who has not passed an audit in the history of audits, literally, it cannot account for over $500 billion. Now we're spending this money on something. We're $35 trillion in debt. Every 100 days, we add another $1 trillion to our deficit. Look, it's not about little green men or flying saucers. It's what are we spending this dadgum money on?
All right. I don't want to, I'm afraid it's going to get more political, and I'm really, really, really tired of these stupid comments on the podcast where he's like, this guy's too political. All he talks about politics. No, I don't. Please stop saying that. It's not true. Yeah, so I agree with everything he said on there. That, that we're spending billions and trillions on all this other crap, and we're supposed to be making this all public. Yet it's not all public. Where is it going? Why isn't the public getting the information? Even though when it came out that they were going to make it public, me and everybody else that talks UFOs all said the same thing. Yeah, sure, let's see. So it's not a surprise, but it would be nice if they actually did it. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news, paranormal TV show Dark Echoes to film at Wildwood Sanitarium. Wildwood Sanitarium is a place that I would love to go. I would absolutely love to go to. A paranormal investigation team plans to visit Wildwood Sanitarium in Salamanca on Tuesday and Wednesday to film an episode of their new series, Dark Echoes Paranormal, now streaming on Amazon Prime and Paraflix. Dark Echoes Paranormal specializes in creating a unique viewing experience of actual paranormal investigations. This series is dedicated to present real, raw, investigative footage and evidence without any falsification, leaving it up to the viewers to decide if enough evidence was captured to support the claim that a location is haunted. Great idea. Great idea for show. I will 100% watch this. The Wildwood Sanitarium opened at 71 Prospect Avenue in 1906. It's haunted. I don't need to go into the rest of it. They have ghost tours and everything else. It's a really cool, crazy old building. But this show sounds great. Sounds like a great idea. Sounds like something that I would like to be a part of in any way, shape, or form. So hopefully I can get those guys, at the very least, I can get those guys on as guests of Paranormal Almanac, because I think it'd be great. And if they're out in California, I'll join them on a ghost hunt. I've got quite a collection of paranormal equipment now that I absolutely am itching to get out there and do another paranormal investigation. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news, it's real. The Great Florida Bigfoot Conference is coming to Central Florida. The event is June 8th in Ocala or Cala, I don't know, Florida. It's in Florida. If you live in Florida, you know where it is. So if you happen to be in Florida on June 8th, please go to the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference. That's all you need to know for that one. I just wanted to promote that for free, not getting paid, but enjoy. Up next in paranormal news, most of Wyoming's Bigfoot sightings are concentrated in one area. Let's skip ahead a little bit. From 2020 to 2022, the national average of people saying they were believers rose from 11% to 13%, which I think is good. And a new report by the Journey of Zoology says most Bigfoot sightings are just basic black bears. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure there are a ton of Bigfoot sightings that are just misidentified bears. I get that. But not all of them. And that's important to note. But they did say there have been 12 Bigfoot reported encounters in Wyoming since 1970. Half of these reports were in the Shoshone National Forest between Cody and Yellowstone, along the US 14, US 16, and US 20 route. The highway is one of the state's busiest in the summers, hence why people are seeing them. It's a big freaking state. Of course, it's going to be a rare spot to, a rare thing to sight a Bigfoot. But yeah, if there happened to be along one of the busiest highways, of course, that's where they're going to spot Bigfoot. And then it goes in to tell you all about Bigfoot. But y'all know about Bigfoot, especially the most important thing, which is don't fucking shoot them. Up next in paranormal news, Loch Ness Monster spotted in drone footage from a wild camper. I've been wanting to watch this footage. I don't know if you guys remember it, like, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe longer. Time has no meaning since the pandemic. There was some BS footage of a drone over Loch Ness, and Nessie was right there against the right by the beach, that I debunked within like 2 minutes. I debunked it. I found the actual footage from the unedited footage on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, here it is. There's no Nessie. Plus, the spot where it was filmed, the beach was like 4 feet deep, yet 99% of Nessie, except for her head, was underwater. So I was like, well, this is all bullshit, and it's a terrible thing. Anyhow, this just popped up yesterday on Lad Bible, published May 21st, 2024. It's one of Scotland's greatest mysteries. The mythical creature has been, it is the same fucking video. I knew it would be. I just scrolled down enough in the article where I saw the video. Yeah, it's the same one. I'm going to watch it just to be on the safe side. Now it's got a new YouTube channel. It's trying to promote it as being real. Yeah, it's the same bullshit thing. It's about a 20-second, yep. Oh, I hate, yeah. All right, fuck off. You're not getting anything. I'm not even going to give you the YouTube channel's name because it's been debunked by me, by other people. Within minutes, it was debunked. So this guy is just now regurgitating old footage, kind of like those stupid fake Mexican aliens where they just waited a few years and then brought them back out and it made the news again. That's what this guy's doing. So good job. You created another YouTube channel and you put the same footage in there and you've got a bunch of websites that are now promoting that Nessie has been spotted. No, it hasn't. Debunked within minutes. That beach, again, is like 4 feet deep. Yet Nessie is completely up against the beach, but only her neck is out. How small is Nessie? I'm sorry, is Nessie the size of rum? I don't think so. Dumb. Moving on. Loch Ness Monster, not a monster. NASA urged to help as new search begins. That's right. A new search will take place, it says will take place on the 90th anniversary from May 30th to June 2nd. And NASA has been asked to help in the search for the Loch Ness Monster. How? Let's see. The latest search will take place on the 90th anniversary of Sir Edward Mountain's expedition from May 30th to June 2nd. Since that first expedition in 1934, the Watchers of the Monster have seen over 1,100 sightings. We are hoping that Nessie hunters around the world will help us reach out to the people at NASA. We're hoping to reach them through the power of social media. We're just hoping that for their expert guidance to help with our ongoing quest to get answers. It doesn't say how, though. Come on. Again, it doesn't kind of matter. It's the same thing as the last year's search where volunteers will be asked to keep an eye on the surface, looking for breaks in the water at the loch, and also on camera. They said those unable to visit to make the search in person can get involved through the live cameras on the Visit Inverness Loch Ness website. They're going to screen the Loch Ness. They created a monster, a documentary from the 70s or 80s, I think it was. You can go out on a boat with Deep Scan Captain. Wonder if Owen Fadigan is going to be there. They said it's going to be the biggest search again ever, which I think is great. I'm glad that they didn't just do it last year and went, nah, we didn't find her. Oh, well, moving on. No, they were going to do it again. But it doesn't say how they hope that NASA will help them. I'm assuming it's with satellites and stuff like that. But I think it's a great idea. I'm here for it. And I will gladly watch the webcams because one of these days I'm going to spot Nessie on these webcams and I'm going to be so happy. Up next in paranormal news is a batshit crazy story. Hold on one second. My ad block just blocked the story. Let's try that again. White Witch of Rye, Barrister 42, faces jail for harassing Wizard 82 after she took control of his bank account and what he ate, drank, and wore. Yeah. A barrister known as the White Witch of Rye is facing jail for harassing a wizard after battering her way into his house. Barbara Mora Lane, 42, is said to have become obsessed with the self-proclaimed wizard Alfred Douglas after signing up for a magic course. Mr. Douglas, 82, is a world-renowned expert on tarot cards and the occult, and even advised the late, great Peter Sellers. Ooh, I want to talk to this guy. Ooh, I got to try and find this guy. Lane admitted harassing and criminal damage after breaking into Mr. Douglas' home and smashing a glass door and a greenhouse. She also deluged the offer with calls and texts, leading to a stalking charge. The legal editorial associate who works for the media company Thomson Reuters, first visited the wizard's home in Rye, East Sussex, on the pretext of seeing his library on the occult. Oh, that's creepy. When she was in there, she persuaded him to let her stay, claiming she had nowhere to live after her father died and her mother suffered a stroke. Soon, friends and family of his raised concerns that the elderly widower appeared to be falling under her spell. Oh, that's sad. They became inseparable. She had his bank card and control of his bank account. She controlled what he ate, what he drank, the clothes he wore, who he saw, and when he saw them. He just keeps going on being sadder. So yeah, it's elder abuse, basically. She's a terrible person, and I don't care about the White Witch of Rye. I only want to talk to the wizard, so hopefully I can get the wizard on. And finally, in paranormal news, little bit lighter story, hopefully. Ah, yes, it is. Flat Earther arrested following bizarre incident at a city council meeting. Let me click on the YouTube. It doesn't really matter, the context.
My name is Donnie Lee Berriger, 134 Union Street, and tonight I'm going to talk about a few topics. This is something that I emailed you, Mayor. This is a reference publication 1207 from NASA.
Mr. Berringer, we're not going to talk about NASA. We have no control over that. If you want to talk to the city about city business, you're more than welcome. City business only. I'm giving you a warning, and that's it. City business only.
So this report documents
Jesus.
the configuration and definition of the
You're out of
linear
order, Mr.
aircraft
Berringer.
model.
You're out of order.
It says right here,
Officer.
flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Officer.
It says it right here.
Good
It says flying over
Lord.
a flat, non-rotating
We're
Earth.
gonna
This
take
is a
Council
NASA.
members.
This is a
Recess.
NASA document.
Oh,
All right.
he's going to
NASA
get
document.
arrested.
Publication
Oh, they all got up and left. They just ended the meeting.
1207.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I want to get to the arresting. Oh, yeah, he got arrested. The cops are...
It's my First Amendment right to bring up a grievance, and that's what that microphone's
You're out of order.
of grievance.
We're going to
They came back in and they just basically said, no, screw you, and they arrested him. And good on him. If you're the first-time listener of this podcast, the Earth isn't flat. The Earth is not flat. Science has proven the Earth is not flat. It's not flat. Science has proven it. They can give you the tools where you can prove it for yourself. Or, if you're still like, shut up, Kurt, it's flat. Cool. Get a ride on a rocket. You can do that now. You can go up into space and you can see it for yourselves. Why don't a bunch of flat earthers pool all their money together, get one of these morons to actually get in the rocket, go up there and see that the Earth isn't flat? You know why they don't do it? Because then they wouldn't have any proof. The guy would come back and be like, shit, Earth's not flat, it was round. Or the idiot would be like, it's only round because it's a TV. We don't actually go up into space, and all the other crap that they say. You're never gonna convince a flat earther that they're wrong, because they're just dumb. They're just dumb people. They're dumb. If you're listening to this and you're a flat earther, thank you for listening, but you're dumb. It's just dumb. The Earth isn't flat. It's been proven so many times. Why are the other planets round, but the Earth isn't? You can see. No. You know what I'm saying. All right, that does it for paranormal news. I'm not going to look. That's as much time as I want to devote to the flat Earth. I like seeing that guy arrested. That was funny. That made me happy. I do like that. Real quick, you can head on over to tpublic.com/stores/paranormal-almanac. I'm putting up more new styles this week. You might say, hey, Kurt, you got like 6 pages of styles, because I do. There's like 6 pages full of styles of all kinds of merch that you can get. You know, like stickers and totes and posters and shirts and hoodies and all that other crap. Why do you keep making new merch? One, because I like it, and then I buy it for myself because I like wearing my own merch. I'm wearing my own merch right now, as a matter of fact. You have to take my word on it. But yeah, because I like it, and 2, because fans are really appreciative of it, and they're very nice, and they're buying it, and it's a great way to support the show. If you can't be a patron, or you don't want to be a patron for whatever reason, buy a shirt, buy some merch, buy a sticker, put it on your car, get yourself a tattoo, a paranormal tattoo. I don't know what I'd do if someone got a paranormal almanac tattoo. I'd have to, like, you know, that gets you carte blanche entry into my tiki bar. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the whole show. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with the actual episode, because it's only 41 minutes into this, and I haven't gotten, or, well, it won't be, because I have to cut out all that beginning stuff. It's like a half hour into it, but yeah, let's talk about the actual episode. We are back. I wanted to do an episode about one cryptid. That was the goal of this episode. I want to talk about one cryptid, and it's pretty much going to be just one cryptid. I didn't want to start out doing another state episode. I knew eventually I was going to do another state episode, but I wanted to kind of space them out basically. But I was just going to do it about the first story you're gonna hear in just a moment. But the more and more that I looked, the more and more I found, I was like, Jesus, there is like Arkansas. You got a lot of paranormal stuff, ghosts and cryptid side of things, paranormal and cryptid side, and UFOs. So I figured, why not keep going with the Paranormal State series I kind of have going this whole time. But let's start where I did, with a story that I've wanted to tell. Well, honestly, it's a story I've wanted to tell since I started Paranormal Almanac. It's no joke. It's a classic. It's a legend. It's a Bigfoot? Probably. Yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not going to start about this creature where 99.9% of people start with this one. I wanted to go back as far as I could and find evidence of eyewitness accounts prior to 1971 or 72. I'm talking about the Fouke monster. Wait, I wanted to confirm the pronunciation because I'm going to be saying this word a lot, and I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right, but I wanted to get how to pronounce it. Hold on.
Fouke.
Fouke. Yeah, all right, I'm good. The Fouke monster. Hold on one second. I am back. Don't worry, it wasn't the police this time. I just spilled water on my computer. That can't help my computer act any better, huh? Yeah, I spilled water on my computer. The Fouke monster. Does she say it again? Let's see. No?
Fouke.
There you go. Fouke. Yeah, I'm talking about the Fouke monster. And you might go, I have no idea what the hell the Fouke monster is. It's also known, more prominently for me anyway, as the Boggy Creek Monster. Now, sometime in the late 70s, early 80s, a young Kurt was watching really bad TV on a Sunday or a Saturday. When they always used to have, like you'd wake up, they'd have cartoons on a Saturday. Then they have, like, before cable, this is. Imagine a time before cable, kids, and before the internet, where there was only like 9 channels, if that, like 6 channels, in Detroit. And, there would be like monster movies, like old movies like, Dracula or Frankenstein or King Kong or some bullshit like that. But every now and then they'd have like a Sunday matinee movie. And it was always some really weird movie that Kurt loved. I absolutely loved. I was like, just sat down. I'm like, yep, I'm in. Well, there was a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek. Come on up, Rum. Hi, sweetheart. I didn't think you were going to make an appearance this episode. Hello. Yeah, you're a good girl. It's called The Legend of Boggy Creek. That, when I watched it as a kid, I remembered it being like action-packed, and it was tons of Bigfoot in there, and it was just everything that a young Kurt would have wanted. Because I would buy or get from the library every book on Bigfoot that I could find. I rewatched it for this episode. And it's not that exciting of a movie. In fact, it's a really slow-paced movie with a lot of voiceover and very little Bigfoot for my tastes. But still amazing. I rewatched it going, this is just batshit crazy that this movie was ever made. But the Legend of Boggy Creek, the Boggy Creek Monster, the Fouke Monster, if you read, there's a million books and websites about it. But like I said, they all have one problem. They all start in 1971. May of 1971 is when this story, supposedly started. And yeah, it's the most famous encounter with the creature, but it's not the earliest. And for that, we go all the way back to 1851. Almost like 100 years earlier, at least, 80 years earlier? Come on up, Rum. You don't have to stay down there. Yeah. Hi, beautiful. In 1851, the Memphis Inquirer. Hi, sweetheart. I love you too. I'm trying to do a podcast, though. I'll put you right here on my lap. The Memphis Inquirer reported a creature spotted by hunters in Greene County. This is from the 1851 newspaper. He was of gigantic stature, the body being covered with hair, and the head with long locks that fairly enveloped his neck and shoulders. That's a Bigfoot. Now, it's hard to find really, really old, like 1800 newspaper articles, even though I've got that newspapers.com subscription or whatever. Because, you know, again, if you're a new listener, I love finding actual reported evidence of the paranormal, especially back in the day, because it just adds some gravitas to the actual story. But it's hard to find old Bigfoot things because they didn't really call them Bigfoot. That wasn't until the 70s. Sasquatch, they didn't really call them that. You have to kind of be very tricky with your wording. Monster is a big one. There's a bunch of words that you can find for Bigfoot. This one, they didn't mention anything even remotely the words Bigfoot. He was of gigantic stature, the body being covered with hair, and the head with long locks that fairly enveloped his neck and shoulders. That's a fucking Bigfoot, man. They're talking about a Bigfoot in the area in 1851. Like I said, like 80 years prior to the first quote-unquote first sighting of the Fouke monster. But that's not the only one, because 5 years later in 1856, the Caddo Gazette reported about a, quote, beast in the upper Red River region. This one said, a stout, athletic man, about 6 foot 4 inches in height, completely covered with hair of a brownish cast, about 4 to 6 inches long. He was well muscled and ran up the bank with the fleetness of a deer. In an instant, he dragged the hunter to the ground and tore him in a most dreadful manner, scratching out one of his eyes and injuring the other so much that his comrades despair of the recovery of his sight, and biting large pieces out of his shoulder and various parts of his body. So, could that one have been a bear? Yes, but you would think, especially in 1856, if they're local to the area, they would know about the bear. This sounds like a bear attack to me. But it gets weirder. In that same story, this is why I go, not a bear. The beast then stole the hapless victim's horse and rode away on it. All right, I don't know of any Bigfoot sighting ever where the Bigfoot like ate your face and then jumped on your horse and ran away. Is it conjecture? Is it like, did they add some flair to it to sell the paper back in the day? Probably. In my opinion, I don't think the Bigfoot rode away on a horse, but I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe Bigfoot in 1856 was like, you know, well adept in that area and was like, I'm jumping on your horse and taking it, bitch. I don't know. But the point is that the story starts way earlier than 1971. And again, on 99% of these websites, they're going to say there's never been a sighting in the area prior to 1971 and Bigfoot mania. So there's a lot of skeptics that say the only reason the Fouke monster story ever happened was because they were starting the grips of Bigfoot mania. No, absolutely not. Let me keep going. I don't want to stop there. Let's jump ahead to 1908 in Fouke, Arkansas. That's when Willie Smith and his sister saw the creature around 1908 when she was 10 years old at the south end of the Mercer Bayou. Now, this creature was described as being between 7 and 8 foot tall, on 2 feet, weighing close to 300 pounds. It's said to have brown, black, or reddish hair, dark skin with an ape-like face, and lived in, quote, bottomland hardwood. No idea what bottomland hardwood is, but the rest of that's a flippin' Bigfoot. Then, 2 years later, a story was ran in the Daily Arkansas Gazette. It was ran on, Wednesday, October 5th, 1910. And I looked into this. It's about 20 miles north of Fouke. Let me actually pull up the newspaper from newspapers.com. Here we go. Texarkana, wild beast at large. A strange beast which roars like a lion is reported to be running at large in the woods north of Spring Lake near Texarkana. The animal is said to have killed several pigs at the McAllister Place and several dogs near Newtown. Don't like that. I don't like either of them. The roars of the strange beast have so frightened the people of the locality that they're afraid to leave their homes after dark, and windows and doors are kept securely barred. That's it. That's the whole story. It's a blurb towards the side of the newspaper about, like, you know, stuff going on near us, you know, like Texarkana, stuff going on. And that was it. Again, written about in 1910. That's a Bigfoot. I don't care who you are. That's not a, I mean, could it be a bear? Yes. But again, these are the locals. The locals know about a bear. The locals know what a bear looks like, what a bear attack looks like. That's a Bigfoot. Then again, in 1916. Now, this one I can't verify, but there's a report about a family that saw a large ape-like creature standing near the woods at night near Wright Patman Lake, which is about 19 miles west of Fouke, so in the same area. And that's when it gets a little bit fuzzier. These next, 20 or so sightings, 30 or so sightings, all have the same one source. So grain of salt these. I wanted to find other viable sources for these information, and I couldn't. But it seems like a reputable source, but I don't know the person, so I can only gauge by the rest of the stuff that they wrote. But anyhow, grain of salt these next 20 or so sightings. I'm going to breeze through them because they don't have to read them all. 1932, man sees a hairy, man-like animal from his porch. It quickly moved out towards the fence of his property and disappeared to the woods. That's Bigfoot. 1941, two brothers were fishing in Boggy Creek when they heard a noise. They looked up to see, quote, a large, hairy, ape-like creature grab their stringer. The stringer, I had to look it up because I didn't know what that was. It's when, when you already have caught fish, you can, string them onto this hook so they all are, still, connected, and then you put it in the water so they can stay, the fish stay alive, basically, but they can't swim away. That's what the stringer is. So it grabbed their stringer and walked off with it. Ooh, Boggy Creek monster stole your fish back in 1941. All right, 1943, a serviceman saw what he described as a wild man run across the road while driving a military munitions truck through Fouke. 1946, woman sees a strange animal in the field by her house. According to the local sheriff, she said it looked kind of like a man and walked like a man, but she didn't think it was a man. This is the problem. I couldn't find any police reports. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's a small town at that time. There's a good chance they didn't keep all the police reports, so they don't have them anymore. But it would have been nice if I could find them. Let's see, 1954, women and two children at a farmhouse 2 miles from town saw a large hairy creature walking on 2 feet. 55, man sees a large hairy ape-like creature near his house on Boggy Creek. This one, he shot at it 15 times with the rifle, but says he must have missed it. Kurt here, don't fucking shoot Boggy Creek monster. 55 again in Jonesville, 2 people see a hairy-like creature across the road. 55, an experienced hunter and trapper, I like that, sees a large gorilla-like creature while fishing in a river. It appears to be washing its hands before it walked away on 2 legs into the trees. Next one, what really irks me is they have no names and no exact date. It just says 1960s. A man hunting in the woods of Mercer Bayou saw a 7-foot-tall, hairy-like man. He tried to approach it. Why? Why would you approach that? But the creature disappeared into the thick underbrush. Kurt here, don't approach a large, hairy-like man in the woods. Come on. 1964, a teenage girl sees a tall, hairy, 2-legged creature. Yep, blah, blah, blah. 1965, teenage boy sees the exact same thing while deer hunting. He says he fired his gun at the creature before running away. Didn't hit it. Or he did, and it just didn't go down. Okay, we're getting closer to the sighting that made that terrible movie that, like I said, that I was watching when I did this outline. You know what? Hold on. Let me stop right here for a second. So in that movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek, I put it on in the background while I was doing this outline and doing all the research. And there's a song in that flippin' movie that is so worth getting demonetized on YouTube to listen to it for a second. So, hold on. I want to play the Legend of Boggy Creek song. No free ad. I want the song only. You don't get that free ad. Here we go. It's so bad, but it's also so wonderful. It's like something out of a Bass Rankin claymation Christmas movie, you know? It's got that kind of feel to it, that 70s feel.
This is where the story plays.
Oh, it's so good.
A world on which we seldom gaze. Page from the book of yesterdays. Birds and beasts and wind and water. Here beneath the bright blue sky. No man's smoke blinds the eagle's eye. And things that crawl or swim or fly. Feed and breed and live and die.
Yeah, getting a little 70s funky with it now. That's right, listening to the song on Paranormal Almanac coming at you with all the legends of Boggy Creek. I'm your host, Kurt Savick. Here we go. Oh, come on, man. Start singing. I gave you a good intro. No? All right. This might be the end of it. I might fade out. If he doesn't start singing in a second, we're going to fade out. It's really kind of a funky beat. I want you all to sit back, close your eyes, even if you're driving. Listen to the legend of Boggy Creek, the monster that wants to touch you as much as you want to touch it. Ah, that would have been a perfect spot for more singing. All right, I'm going to skip ahead a minute. Wow, that's long. There we go. Hear the Sulphur River flow.
Rising when the storm cloud blows, and this is where the creature goes, safe within a world he knows.
All right, that's the Legend of Boggy Creek from the Legend of Boggy Creek in 1972. What a great tune. Honestly, like, that's just, it's like I said, it's like a Bass Rankin, like, Christmas song from, like, you know, like one of those, like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of movies. It's so good. All right, I got to fade him out. I don't care that I got demonetized on YouTube. That's worth listening. Where was I? That was 1965. Let's keep on keeping on in 1960. Let's go back to 1965. Woman deer hunting, sees a hairy ape-like creature. Then, I thought this one was really interesting. In 1965, the people of Fouke actually did an organized hunt for what is now known as the Fouke monster. And they said that a man on horseback did see a creature, but he said it could have been a bear. They didn't kill it. They didn't spot it. They got some tracks and stuff like that, but nothing else. In 66, a school bus driver saw it. 66, a guy named Smokey Crabtree, I can't believe this one's real, reported that the alleged monster on several occasions approached his house at night and was heard screaming or would disturb the dogs, although it never harmed any of his dogs. Kurt, I like that. 67, man sees a hairy-like creature. Again, 67, teenager driving. This one makes me mad, too. They said a teenager driving who later became a Grammy Award-winning musician. Who? Name the musician. Who? Who was the Grammy? Was it Lionel Richie? Like, I want to know who it was in 1967 that was a teenager in Fouke, Arkansas, that saw a hair-covered bipedal creature running along Highway 71. They said they had never heard of they never heard of the Fouke monster or Bigfoot. It wasn't until years later when they watched The Legend of Boggy Creek that they went, hey, I saw that thing. Who? Who is the Grammy Award-winning musician? That makes me mad. 71, three people see, quote, a hairy, tall creature with red eyes. All right, so now we're getting close to, in 71 was the big sighting. So the rest of these all were probably happening either just before or just after the main story that I'm about to read, the main encounter that I'm about to read to you. So I'm actually going to skip ahead through the 70s. I'm going to cruise through a bunch more sightings with little to no info, and then I'll get to the main sighting of this one. And I also want to do this because I want you to know that it doesn't stop in 71, which a lot of people, again, a million of websites say, that it was basically just seen in 71 and it tapered off and ended. Let's see. I'm skipping ahead all the 71s. 72 one. Local man, known to be a skeptic, sees a 4-foot-tall hairy bipedal creature early one morning. 73, young girl riding her bike saw a large ape-like creature. 74, large ape-like creature. 74, two hunters see a large ape-like creature. 74, another hunter. 77, young man sees hairy ape-like creature. 78, local resident looks out the kitchen window and sees something crouched down on the far side of a pond. It raised its torso and head to take a drink of water. He could see it was some kind of ape-like animal. A bunch throughout the 80s, like basically all the same. Teenage boy sees it, fisherman sees it, hunter sees it, young man sees it. He went out to check on a large chicken coop. As he approached the building, he could see a large ape-like creature trying to get inside of the coop. 86, local landowner saw it about 80 yards from him, saw it clear as day. I don't know what the hell this means. 1987, a man was frog gigging in a pond near Boggy Creek. I don't know, is that fucking frogs? I have no idea what that is. When he was surprised to see a pair of brightly illuminated eyes staring at him. As he got closer, the animal began to move in the trees. It appeared to be a man-like and walk upright. 1990, two men from Oklahoma smell a pungent odor while driving along Highway 71 in Fouke. They see a hairy-like creature. Then, this one I added. I added this one to the list. May 9th, 1999. This one lives in infamy in my mind as well. Because apart from me seeing The Legend of Boggy Creek as a kid, in May-ish of 1999, there was an episode of the Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's right, Mystery Science Theater 3000 did an episode of Boggy Creek 2, and the legend continues. It first aired May 9th, 1999. It is another reason that I absolutely love The Legend of Boggy Creek. It's an absolutely fantastic episode. It can be found on YouTube. Buy it. It's worth watching. You don't have to buy it on YouTube, but, give them some money because they deserve it. It's so worth watching. And 91, 52 miles from Fouke, a large skeleton is discovered in the woods by 2 hunters. The specimen is completely intact except for missing a head, tail, and claws. Suspecting that the bones might belong to that of the alleged Fouke monster, the hunters take the bones from the property and give them to Smokey Crabtree again. Kurt here. Couldn't find out crap about this. Also, there is no tail or claws on a Bigfoot. So I suspect that that was a hoax, and that's why I can't find anything about it. 92, 6 people saw it in a car. 93, 5 people saw it in multiple cars along that Highway 71. Highway 71 seems to be a real hot spot, especially in like the 80s and 90s. 96, young boy and his sister saw it. 96, also a truck driver driving north on Highway 71 saw it. 97, a guy's driving on Highway 71 saw it. 98, woman babysitting some children sees a, quote, very large hairy creature. She watches them from the edge of the woods, while on a morning walk. So more than one creature. In 2000, a hunter sees it. 2001, a hunter sees it. 2001, again, another coon hunter sees it. Then a fisherman in 2001. 2 young girls encounter a hairy monster in 2003. 2004, a guy canoeing in Carter Lake sees it. 2009, a wildlife photographer witnesses something. Look, if you got a camera with you, take flipping photos. And it keeps on going on. 2010, 11, 2012, 2013. A television camera operator heard something large running through the brush at dusk. When he focused the camera in the direction of the sound, he saw what looked like a very large person running towards him at a distance of approximately 50 yards. He said it would not have been unusual except the figure was moving at such a high rate of speed through thick brush. 2016, a newspaper carrier off of Highway 71 at 4 a.m. saw it. 2017, they saw it. 2018, they saw it. 2019, they saw it. 2021, 2020, 2023. It keeps going up into the current times. Now, the reason I wanted to read all of these to you, again, is because there's a lot of sites that say that after this big one that I'm about to get to right now in May of 1971, sightings for this creature dried up completely. Like it caused a craze for a moment and people wanted to get in on the craze and then it just died down. That is not the case. From everything that I can find, from every source I can find, sightings are still seen in the area up to 50 miles around that area, but in that area to this day. Whew. All righty. With all of that great, let's get to the one story that started the legend. Again, as far as everyone else is concerned, we go to May of 1971. That's when Bobby Ford reported to the Fouke police constable that he was attacked at his house by a huge, hairy creature that breathed heavily, had red eyes, and moved very fast. Now, Bobby said the man-like creature, which was about 7 feet tall and 3 feet across the chest, quote, put its arms around his shoulder and grabbed him. I wish I had like sexy porn music right now because it sounds like the Boggy Creek monster was just kind of getting a little fresh with Bobby. But Bobby says he broke free from the creature and ran, reporting that he ran so fast that he did not stop to open the front door, but ran right through it. Now, he was treated at a local hospital for minor scratches and shock. You're going to hear a lot about Bobby. Don't worry. But first, there was a family that was reported attacked at the rural home, which sent one of them to Texarkana Hospital with injuries. That's Bobby. Now, Bobby said that the creature had been around his house for several days to a variety of reporters and other people, anybody that would listen, basically, and said that First, he and his hunting companions spotted the creature at the back of the house when his flashlight hit the red glowing eyes, and he said they all shot at it and said they thought they saw it fall. Now, the men started out towards it, but Bobby ran back to the house when when the group heard women screaming inside the house. All right, so they're out and back. They think they shoot it. They think it falls. All of a sudden, women start screaming, so cut to, like, Bobby's wife, Elizabeth. Now, she gave her side of the story. So she was inside. She's the woman. She said that she was asleep in the front room when she saw, quote, a hairy arm with claws coming in the window. She also saw the creature's red glowing eyes. So Bobby bursts in. Boom, Bobby's attacked. The men shot at the creature several more times, but get this. A, they couldn't find the body, either inside or outside, either of the bodies, because it might have been more than one creature. But also, investigators never found blood anywhere. Not on the ground outside, not in the house, anywhere. The sheriff's department actually searched the area, and the only thing that officers found were a strange set of tracks and claw scratches on the porch. So something was there, and those tracks did not match up with the bear. So it wasn't a bear. All right. Here's Bobby telling his story to a reporter. Don't worry. He's going to brag about running through that door again in just a second. He's very proud of being able to run straight through a door like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Bobby said, after the thing grabbed me and I broke free, I was moving so fast I didn't even stop to open the door. I just ran through it. Kurt here, I'm going to guess it's a screen door, and I don't know why he's so proud of this. He won't shut up about this, as you're about to hear. He said, at first I thought it was a bear, but it runs upright and moves real fast. His brother Don and Charles Taylor, the hunters, they saw the creature several times shortly after midnight and shot at it at least 7 times with both hunting rifles and a shotgun. He said, it first started Wednesday when our wives heard something walking around the porch. Then Friday night, about midnight, the thing tried to break into the house again. His brother Don said last night it tried to get in again. All right, so Elizabeth Ford, she was sleeping in the front room of the frame house. She said to the reporter, I saw the curtain moving on the front window and a hand sticking through the window. At first I thought it was a bear's paw, but it didn't quite look like that. It had heavy hair all over it and had claws. I could see its eyes. They looked like coals of fire, real red. She said it didn't make any noise except you could hear it breathing. Cut back to Bobby with the reporter. He said they spotted the creature in the back of the house with the aid of a flashlight. We shot several times at it and then called Ernest Walraven, who's the constable of Fouke. He brought us another shotgun and a stronger light. You know, how good do you have to be, you know, like, how in do you have to be with the sheriff to be like, hey, man, we shot at this thing a bunch. We couldn't kill it. And the sheriff's like, I'll be right over. I'll give you a better gun and a stronger flashlight. That wouldn't happen nowadays. They'd be like, hey, can you stop shooting at things that you don't know what they are? That seems bad. Anyhow, he says, we waited on the porch and then saw the thing closer to the house. We shot again and thought we saw it fall. Bobby, Charles, and myself started walking to where it fell. He said where it fall. I'm assuming he meant where it fell. That's when they heard the women screaming in the house, and Bobby went back. He said, I was walking the rungs of the ladder to get up to the porch, and the thing grabbed me. I felt a hairy arm come over my shoulder, and next thing I knew, we were on the ground. The only thing I could think about was to get out of there. The thing was breathing real hard, and its eyes were about the size of a $50 and real red. I finally broke away and ran around the house and through the front door. And I mean through the front door. I don't know where he went. That's twice in the same interview that he talks about running through the door. Anyhow, let's continue on with what his brother Don said. We heard Bobby shouting, and by the time we got there, everything was over. We didn't see a thing. Okay, so everyone at the house said they saw the creature moving in the fields close to the house. All said it could move fast. Then that constable, Ernest Walraven, said he was called to the scene about 12:35 a.m. on Sunday, May 2nd, and searched the area, but didn't find anything. He said, I looked through the surrounding fields and woods for about an hour. Then I gave them my shotgun and light. A short time later, they called me back and told me they had shot at it again. I went back and stayed until 5 a.m. He said that several years ago, an unnamed resident of Jonesville community near Fouke, quote, reported seeing a hairy monster in the area at the same time. He said, several persons reported to the constable, to the police, that several persons saw the thing and shot at it, some from a close range. They said nothing seemed to stop it. They described it as being about 7 feet tall and looking just like a naked man covered with brown hair. Okay. So, Sunday morning, they go looking around between 2 and 5 a.m. All they could find were several strange tracks that appeared to be left by something with 3 toes and several scratch marks on the front porch that appeared to be made by something with 3 claws. Several pieces of tin nailed around the bottom of the house had been ripped away, and another window had been damaged by the creature. Dan or Don? I think it's Don. The brother, I don't care. The brother said, we plan to stay here tonight and see if we can get the thing if it returns. Patricia Ford said, I'm not staying here anymore unless they kill that thing. And Bobby Ford said, I've had it here. I'm going back to Ashdown. That's right. The family was so fed up with the incident and so scared about what happened to the incident that they were actually planning on moving away from the house. But let's see. I think we already talked about this. Oh, yeah. Bobby was treated at St. Michael Hospital for minor scratches and mild shock. And Kurt here, the feeling of superiority to doors. And he was released. Sherry Leslie Greer said, members of my department searched the area but didn't find a thing. I don't know what it could have been. So that is the main story for the Legend of Boggy Creek. Now, word got out about this. My guess is from Bobby telling everyone about him running through a door. He told everybody about this door. Like, I'm cutting out, no joke, how many times he says that he ran straight through the door. So Jim Powell, a reporter from the Texarkana Gazette and Texarkana Daily News, and Dave Hall, the director of Texarkana radio station, KTFS, they went to Bobby's place where they said, quote, they found a terrified family moving out of the house it had owned for less than a week. That's how scared these people were. Like, no joke. As much fun as I want to make fun of Bobby, or, how much I want to make fun of Bobby for, running through a door and being proud of it. They were so scared. They were just going to abandon the place. Now, Jim wrote an article that appeared in the newspaper, obviously. The next day, both the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily, they published the same follow-up story. It contained the first reference to the name, the Fouke Monster. And then the Associated Press and United Press International Wire Services, they transmitted the article to newspapers around the world, across the nation. And by then, the legend was just about born, really. I did find this really cool article about the reporters. I don't know when it was done. I think it was done in like early 2000s. They said that they talk about the Fouke Monster, but they get to the point of Jim Powell was a reporter for the Texarkana Gazette and Daily News when he came across such a story in May 1971. He is now building manager at the Bi-State Justice Building. Dave Hall called me and said something strange was going down in Fouke, so we went down there. When we got to the house, the people were moving out. They had a U-Haul, were packing their things and leaving the area. We checked with the hospital, and they said this guy was in shock. He was really afraid of something. Skipping ahead. They described the beast again. He said, in this one, he did say that when he researched the story thoroughly, he did find printed sources for earlier sightings in the 1960s. So his didn't go back as far as mine, but he didn't have the internet. He said that he was shocked when the Associated Press and the United Press International both picked up the story. He said, I was sitting at my typewriter on the second story, and I realized I had to call it something. The woman had said it reached a hairy arm through the window, it was breathing hard, and had eyes that were as big as $50 and red as coal, so I named it the Fouke Monster. Look, it's not the best name ever. That it happened in Fouke, and it happened to be a monster, but sure, be proud of that. He said the name stuck. He said, we went in the area behind the house. We saw unusual footprints and small saplings broken off heading into a wooded area. We never saw any blood, although the people said they fired several shots and they thought they hit it. He said at first he thought it was going to be an elaborate hoax. Rumors circulated about a circus train being derailed near Sulphur River bottom years ago, and that was merely animals that escaped and gone wild. But Those stories were nothing but urban legends in the area. Talked about the local sheriff. He said it was, there we go. The Little Rock radio station, KAAY, offered a reward of $1,090 to anyone who could find the monster. They couldn't even afford $1,100 to anyone who could find the monster. A local man by the name of Scoggins offered a $200 reward. It was chaos, Ricky Roberts, owner of the Monster Mart in Fouke, remembers. There were a lot of people out there looking who weren't local. People showed up with everything from guns to tape recorders, hoping to catch a sight or sound of the creature. Giant footprints appeared in Willie E. Smith's soybean field. He said they were strange. They were all in a line and didn't step on any plants. I got pictures of them. They're fake. 3 weeks after the Ford sighting, 3 people heading back to Texarkana from Shreveport saw something large and hairy run across the road in front of them. He said, I knew these people, and they were very reliable and very truthful. That was former Sheriff Leslie Greer. I don't know what they saw, but I do believe they saw something. An Oates Street resident sitting on her front porch said she saw the monster in a field across from her home. We had several here in town, in fact. I think they were drinking and got into a scuffle and skinned one another up. Hoaxsters. Then there was hoaxsters. He said, I think they were drinking and got into a scuffle and skinned one another up. They were fined $59 each for a fraudulent monster report. That's awesome. Greer campaigned for the Miller County Sheriff from 1967 to 1974. Said he first heard of the monster as early as 1946. He said, I was campaigning for a tax assessor and stopped to talk to a lady sitting on the front porch. She lived about halfway between Fouke and the Below Bridge. She told me that she saw some kind of animal go down in the field in a low, bushy place. She said it looked kind of like a man and walked like a man, but she didn't think it was a man. He never gave much consideration to the reports until 1971. He said, then I started thinking about it and started putting pieces together about more and more people talking about these things that was just kind of like common knowledge. I'm just kind of extrapolating now because it's getting kind of long. He said that basically there was so many reports back in the day, people just talked about it like it was a common thing, but he didn't really put the pieces together until 1971. Word got out that Willie E. Smith, a local service station owner, found 3 toed tracks in the soybean field and made a mold of the prints. He made souvenirs from the mold and sold them to monster enthusiasts. The original mold of the print stayed in the service station until it was destroyed by fire, sadly. Let's see. Let me keep it on. They talk a little bit about the movie and how a bunch of locals appeared in the movie. I'll talk about that in a little bit. All in all, it was a good story. We never knew really what happened. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of people that say, like, end of the day, they don't know what the hell it was. They're not saying it was a Bigfoot, but they're saying, I don't know, there was something there. Anyhow, so cutting back to that same time, more and more people hear about it. More and more eyewitnesses come forward. More and more people come into town to try and be local monster hunters, as you just heard. The witnesses I told you about earlier, then more attention was put on the Boggy Creek Monster, which led to Charles Pierce to make a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek. Now, as I was just saying a second ago, a lot of the residents of Fouke actually showed up in the movie, including Herb. The reason I'm telling you about Herb will be apparent in a minute. Herb is seen living on a small island deep within the Boggy Creek swamp. He tells a young boy who visits him that he's never seen anything unusual out in the swamp, and he does not believe in the Legend of Boggy Creek Monster. That was in 72 when they made the movie. Sadly, in 1977, Herb fell through the floor of his shack in the swamp, got stuck, and died of exposure. Wow! What the crap kind of weird ending to the story is that? I gotta say, with that, I think I got everything in there about the Fouke Monster, but probably not. But I'm still gonna move on because I want to give you a teaser of the other paranormal stuff in Arkansas. That's it for the Fouke Monster, really. Like I said, the sightings continue. They really do. They keep on going. They did not fade out right after the movie, as many people say. It's still sighted around there, but like with anything in the area, more and more people move into the area. More and more Bigfoot move out, basically. There's a reason that Bigfoot aren't sighted every day. It's because we're taking their territory and they have to find new territory. But with that, let's move on to another paranormal, like I said, a teaser for the next episode. The first stop is Arkansas Highway 365. Kurt here, spoiler, it's haunted. Now, when I first started doing research on Arkansas Highway 365 and saw that it was haunted, I was like, oh, it's going to be because of scorned love. That's how all of these things get started. Like someone, he can't marry her because he's not good enough, and he moves away and she kills herself, but she's still seen every day, that kind of crap. So I was like, all right, let's see. Let's see if I'm right, if it's a scorned love one. So here's the legends. That's right, legends. In 1973, a man picked up a girl on a bridge near Wrightsville. Crap. That's right. Immediately I was like, crap, hitchhiking ghost. I forgot about hitchhiking ghost. Of course it's a hitchhiking ghost and not scorned love, Kurt. So 1973, a man picks up a girl on a bridge near Wrightsville who was hitchhiking. She was covered in bruises and cuts. She told the man she'd been in a car accident. When they arrived at the house she claimed was hers, she disappeared from his car. He went to the door anyway and found a father whose daughter had died on a bridge near Wrightsville the month before. Or there's a report of a man who picked up a young woman on a bridge and drove her home to a house in Woodson. When he arrived, the girl asked him to knock on the door because the house was dark. He did so, and a woman answered. The guy announced that he had brought the woman's daughter home, and the woman said her daughter had died the year before on that very night. Or, years ago, a young man was driving down Arkansas 365 south of Little Rock when he saw a young girl on the roadside. He offered to give her a lift and draped his coat over his shoulders because she was cold and soaked from the rain. She gave him directions to her house. When the young man got out of the car and walked around to the other side to help her out of the seat, no one was there. So the man walks up to the house, knocks on the door, and the woman answered and explains what had occurred. That young girl is my daughter, who was murdered years ago. She hitchhikes back home once a year. Yeah. There's a shit ton more about this legend, and I mean a shit ton more. Let me give you some more examples. Arkansas 365 hitchhiker, legend lives on. This is a news article. The wet pavement was as black as ink on Arkansas 365 when Josh caught sight of a figure standing on the side of the road ahead. The young woman was soaked to the skin and shyfully grateful for the ride. She gave him an address in Redfield. Josh made small talk about the recent high school football game as they drove. But his passenger remained quiet. When they arrived at the house, she seemed to be asleep and there were no lights on at the house, so he decided to knock on the door to make sure it was the right place. A woman came to the door and turned on the porch light, and he smiled and spoke up. Good evening, ma'am. I believe I have your daughter. I picked her up a few miles down the road. She seems a little out of sorts. Was wondering if you wouldn't mind helping me get her into the house. The woman steps back from the doorway with a fearful look. Josh felt a sudden sense of dread. That is not my daughter. My daughter died in an accident 4 years ago tonight. Yep. He runs back to the car, yanks open the passenger door to an empty seat. Or, the person at the house is a man. Others say it's a woman. Some say that the young woman asked the driver to go to the door. Others say she disappears before they even arrive. Some say that the driver tracks down the girl's grave and finds the coat she was wearing when he picked her up hanging on her headstone. They said that there's no proof that anybody ever died on the road, but the story lives on. Let's see. The couple in the car disappeared due to multiple reports of seeing the girl walking on 365 between the bridge and the town of Redfield. ASP investigated the incidents in 1980. The investigation made the paper. The story is retold in a movie called Encounter with the Unknown from 1973. It's all about a vanishing hitchhiker. But people in town say, my dad has told me the story for years and has even seen her, and one of his friends picked her up, and when he got close to where she lived, she was gone. And the seat was wet. Ew, she peed. Rachel Rickey wrote, my grandpa used to tell me this story all the time. He has since passed away, but I remember the story quite well. Lisa Willis said, it's real. I've seen her. She chilled my bones. So, a lot of debate of whether any of it is true. A lot of stories. I really kind of picked and chose right there for you. Very few from the actual people who did the actual picking up of the ghost girl on the road. But I got to say, look, if you happen to be in Arkansas on Highway 365, nothing bad ever happens to the driver. So pick up a ghost. Get her on her phone. Get your phone out. Like pictures and video of her. Pick her up and be like, hey, ghost girl, what's your name? Ask some questions. Find out what her name is. And if she's not talking, then just film her the entire time. And when you get to where you're going, keep the camera on her, walk up to the house, and then we can actually see her disappear on camera is what I'm saying. Come on, people. Let's do the basics. Do the bare minimum. Should I do one more? Nah. It's that's good for this episode. That's a teaser. So next week will be the haunted or paranormal Arkansas stories, and there are a shit ton of them. I've got 99% of the story, the outline already done, but that's your teaser for the next episode, all about haunted Arkansas, paranormal Arkansas. Let's continue on with the 50 states of paranormal, if you will. That's a cool title, huh? I really liked The Legend of Boggy Creek. Like I said, from when I was a kid, I've always liked The Legend of Boggy Creek. It was a story that I've been wanting to do, and I just never got around to it. I mean, I've done so many episodes of this podcast, and I just never gotten around to it. And I figured, now's the time. This is another, almost as big as the Wright-Patterson Bigfoot episode, or Roswell, if you will. Well, that's fine. That was wrong theme song, but that's cool. So once again, I'm your host, Kurt Samdig. This has been another edition of Paranormal Almanac. Hope you guys like this one. It's one that I've been wanting to do forever, and I really, really do appreciate you guys listening to this episode. Thank you so much. Oh, there's